Welcome to the AJ Sports Show. Today, I'm going to discuss the last two of the college football playoff semifinal games. Then I'll do some recap with the wild card matchups. And I'll discuss a couple coach firings. So, let's blast these real quick. All right. Miami and Ole Miss. When you told me before the game which quarterback I would think would have that final drive to seal the game, I would have picked Trinidad Chambliss. Instead, that went to Carson Beck. This game was kind of back and forth the entire way. It was overall a really good game. Beck made some great plays. Chambliss made some great plays, especially late. But it was the Hurricanes that had that last big play, a touchdown run for Carson Beck. And Miami wins 31-24. So Miami, the only ACC team that got into the playoffs. A team that was very cardiac as hell, barely beat the Aggies. Their defense shut down the Buckeyes. And they pulled it off against Ole Miss. Miami gets to play the national title game at their home stadium. And then Oregon and Indiana. This game was over really quickly. Dante Moore threw a pick six, and things just fell apart there instantly. Mendoza once again threw more touchdown passes than incompletions. It was 35-7 at halftime. Your final score is 56-22. Oregon had a final touchdown in garbage time. Didn't even matter. It was destruction. Indiana blasted Alabama in the Rose Bowl, and in the Peach Bowl in the semifinal, they blasted Oregon. So now your national championship matchup is Miami, Indiana. The Hurricanes trying to get back to the mountaintop. They haven't won one since 2001. Indiana, this is the best they've ever done. Who wins? Miami's been cardiac as hell, and they're that kind of team you don't want to make a mistake and go against. But I think Indiana gets it done. I think they beat Miami, and the Hoosiers win their first national title in their program history. They become one of the greatest stories in the history of college football. I think they get it done. All right, let's recap some wild card games real quick. The first one, you had the Rams and the Panthers. I had the Rams on upset alert because they lost to Carolina earlier this season, and it was shockingly back and forth. I mean, LA took a 14-0 lead, but the Panthers clawed back, and they took a late lead in the fourth quarter, but Matthew Stafford had that game-winning touchdown drive. Puka Nacua was unstoppable all game long, and the Rams dodged a hilarious upset. They managed to beat the Panthers 34-31. Their next game, Packers and the Bears. The Packers was once up 21-3. The Bears' offense could do nothing in the first half, and didn't get going until the fourth quarter, where the Bears scored 25 points. 25 points. And the Packers' offense in the second half could do absolutely nothing. Just absolutely nothing. They only scored one time in the second half. Brad McManus had a terrible missed field goal. McManus did not have a great season as a kicker, and the Packers' defense collapsed. And the Packers, once had Super Bowl aspirations, fell off late in the season, and as a result, Chicago wins their first playoff game in 15 years. Bills and Jags, this was also back and forth kind of. Bills, it was really about, could Josh Allen make the superhero plays, and he kind of did that. The Bills, not so good defense, for the most part held their own at times. They kind of struggled in the fourth quarter, but Buffalo was able to get a big touchdown drive. Josh Allen was completing passes, big runs to get first downs, and in a Jags final drive, Bishop gets the pick, and Buffalo moves on. And I think Jacksonville might be their toughest challenge, because the Jags were a red-hot team, and the Bills was able to barely edge them. 27-24. 49ers and Eagles. This game, for the most part, it was all Eagles, but didn't really start going that way till the fourth quarter. It was kind of close. Eagles had the lead much of the time, but the Eagles' offense just wasn't good all season, and boy, did it cost them. A.J. Brown had 2 really bad drops. You've been whining all season about, I'm not getting the ball enough, and then once the ball gets to you, you Darius Hayward Bay it. My God. And then the Niners, they got that touchdown drive late in the fourth quarter. Christian McCaffrey, he was all over the place this game. Didn't get much on the running game, but the thing what makes Christian McCaffrey really good is he could be wide receiver number 2 in any point in the game. Demarcus Robinson had his first big game in a long time. George Kittle got done. He had an Achilles injury, so he's out for the rest of the year. And yet, San Fran still manages to win. These next 2 games, there's not much to discuss, so I'm not going to discuss them overall. Patriots and Chargers, let's just say this. Chargers was fucked before this game even started. You were missing your 2 starting tackles, and against a good Patriots defense, that got exposed. That Chargers offense could do nothing. May wasn't perfect, but he made the plays he had to make, and the Patriots were able to win ugly. Steelers and Texans. This game was 7-3 for a while. Stroud played awful, but at least Woody Marks had a good day running the football, and 2 defensive touchdowns for Houston sealed the win. Steelers' offense was less than useless. They could do nothing right. Aaron Rodgers played awful. The running game could do nothing. Wide receivers kept dropping passes. And the Steelers lose their 7th straight playoff game, which Mike Tomlin now ties Marvin Lewis. And Mike Tomlin does not chase number 8 because Mike Tomlin has actually stepped down as head coach. So Tomlin has been a coach for 19 seasons at Pittsburgh. Had some early success, but towards the last couple years, it's been stale. It was pretty much time for him to go. I think Tomlin was just exhausted. I think he stepped down due to exhaustion. There's some coaches that if they coach for a while, sometimes they burn out, especially when you're not making legit progress. And I think that's what Tomlin kind of felt. Where does he probably go? I think he's going to go to the media. I think he's going to be a media analyst. He has the personality to do it. But as for head coaching, I don't know if he wants to be a head coach again. And before I get to the divisional games, let's discuss some of the other coaches that got fired. John Harbaugh. It was time for him to go too, to be quite honest. Harbaugh's a really good coach. He coached for 18 years in Baltimore. Had success. The team was, for the most part, stable. But this season kind of showed that Baltimore just needs a new voice out there, just a new guy to lead a direction. And John Harbaugh just was no longer going to be the guy. And as a result, he got canned. That loss to Pittsburgh in the final week of the season sealed his fate. Having the best roster on paper to 8-9, that's pretty much inexcusable. The defense was inexcusably bad. The offense was stagnant for too long. Lamar kind of regressed. He got banged up, so he wasn't as effective. And the thing about Lamar is, if he's not running, but if he's not taking off well, that's affecting his passing because he's a running quarterback first. But if he runs well, he's going to throw well. Because Lamar's not going to be a player who he can probably adapt to be a pocket passer once he gets older. Once his legs go, he's going to decline. Mike McDaniel got fired. It was about time. Mike McDaniel, he is a guy who's a really good offensive mind, but he's not head coach material. And there's a lot of coaches that are like that. Who else got canned? Kevin Stefanski got fired, although he's going to get hired somewhere else. There's going to be a team that's going to get him, so he'll be fine. Pete Carroll, he's heading to inevitable retirement. He's too old. It happens. Raheem Morris got fired. He's another guy who's not head coach material. He's a good defense coordinator, just not a good head coach. I'm trying to think. Who else got canned? I haven't discussed. A couple coordinators got fired. Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator for the Chargers, I don't know why NFL teams gave him offensive coordinator opportunities to begin with. Kevin Patullo got fired as the Eagles offensive coordinator because, let's be honest, the Eagles, there's no excuse to be this bad with that much talent. So it was time for him to go. I'm trying to think of other coaches that got fired. Jonathan Gannon, overrated. He was an overrated coordinator, and he's a god-awful head coach. Anybody else? I think that's all the head coaching firings that I can think of at the top of my head, because I haven't shoot up a list. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of head coaching opportunities for some of the younger coordinators and a couple experienced. Which one's the best job? Short term, I think Baltimore. Long term, possibly the Falcons. One of the worst jobs, Cleveland, because who wants to deal with Jimmy Haslam? And Miami, because Tua's not the same quarterback anymore, and he has that ginormous contract. So I think the most attractive job short term is Baltimore. Long term, Falcons. That's how I see it when it comes to the head coach openings. All right, let's preview some wildcard games. All right, your first one, Buffalo and Denver. This game will be at Denver. The Mile High, tough place to play. Even though the Broncos have a good defense, I think Josh Allen is going to single-handedly win this game. He's going to make a lot of crazy plays, and he's going to lead his team just better than Bo Nix ever can. So I think the Bills win in dramatic fashion over Denver. I know Denver has a great defense, but their offense is too stagnant. 49ers in Seattle. This will be the second game of divisional weekend. Seattle's going to win this. Their defense is going to shut down the Niners. Niners are just too injury prone. They're going to miss George Kittle because Kittle is their biggest target receiving. Christian McCaffrey will make a player there, but Seattle's defense will be too strong, and San Francisco defense in the second half will break. So I think Seattle wins. Now, head to the Sunday portion of divisional round. First matchup of Sunday will be Houston and New England. I think this is a defensive slog. It's going to be a 17-13 kind of game. Both offenses are going to be contained. I'm going to take a swing and pick Houston. I think the Houston Texans win this game. I think New England's inexperience is going to cost them. I know C.J. Stroud played garbage against Houston. Stroud was not good. But I think he's going to play a little bit better. He's kind of going to be that game manager. The Texans' run game is going to be solid. And more importantly, that Texans' defense is just far better, the best than everybody. I mean, it's Texans' defense and everybody else. The closest defense to the Texans' level right now is Seattle. But this is one of the best NFL defenses I've seen in a while. And I think that defense is going to carry Houston to a win. And then the night game of this divisional round, this will be an NBC broadcast. Rams and Bears. Rams is going to be the favorite. I don't blame them. They're a 3.5 point favorite in this spread. I'm going to take the Bears. The Rams have been historically god-awful in the cold. The Rams have not beaten the Bears in Chicago since 2003. Just for the giggles. 2003, the Patriots dynasty was just getting started. Spurs won a championship with Tim Duncan in 2003. The Florida Marlins. The Marlins won a World Series in 2003. Nick Saban was in LSU. Carmelo Anthony was at Syracuse. And just for cultural shits and giggles, 50 Cent was probably the biggest name in music in 2003. R. Kelly was still welcomed in the music industry there at the time. I'm just pulling up the top songs of 2003. You kind of get the idea. It's been a long, long time since the Rams won in Chicago. And Stafford isn't all that great in the cold. For his entire career, he's played in domes. He's played in Detroit, which they play in a dome. In the Rams, they play in an indoor stadium. And I think the Bears are going to ground and pound, and Williams is going to make the key plays he has to make. And I think the Bears edge out the Rams. So that's my divisional playoff predictions. I'm predicting the AFC Championship will be Buffalo heading to Houston to take on the Texans, and Bears traveling to Seattle to face the Seahawks. Those are my conference championship game predictions. So that's all I'll have to say for this episode. I'll end it right here, and thanks for watching.